The Army lives and dies with the talent that it brings in and then can retain for a career of service. We're spending a lot of money to produce talented young officers via West Point or through ROTC's scholarship program. But we're not retaining them in sufficient numbers. That's a poor return on investment, and we owe the taxpayer better. But then there's the life and death imperative that's even more important. We owe soldiers better. You have to understand the production cycle or timeline for an officer, or especially a mid-ranks officer. It takes 10 years to produce one. And you can't go out and buy one from General Electric or IBM. They're not producing cavalry troop or tank company or battalion commanders.
Hey, two, contact.
The point is that if I have a shortage of captains or majors in our core warfighting specialties, there's no one out there that I can hire.
Hey, push the scope.
The only place in the world where people get that kind of specialized capability is through development inside the United States Army.
No, I don't want to go there anymore. We're good. Just drive by this field.
There's really no way around it. You can't just go out and assess more officers. You've got to retain the ones that you have.
Prior to the 1980s, the Army could expect roughly 60% of its officers to continue through 8 years of service. After the 1980s, with the shift from the industrial age to the information age, it dropped significantly. We went from 60% to only expecting about 40% of them to continue to 8 years of service. One of the main reasons that retention dropped during the shift from the industrial to the information era was because corporations started seeking officer talent. They sought officer talent because these officers had gone through great undergraduate programs. They'd served in the Army for 5-6 years. They'd been in charge of 40, 50 people at any point in time. That's pretty good leadership experience for someone at a pretty young age.
By the 1990s, the paradigm we'd operated in had all changed. Rather than companies growing their own, we were growing theirs for them. They were coming to us, and they were offering incentives, opportunities that were very attractive to our very talented group of officers. And those officers left at rates we had not anticipated, and the Army wasn't ready for it.
As the Army started to look at this retention problem and it started to realize we need to do something, one of the first ideas that came up was this program called the Critical Skills Retention Bonus. This program began in 2005, and the idea behind it was we would offer officers $30,000 in exchange for 3 more years of service. In total, this program was worth about $500 million.
Unfortunately, of the officers that elected to take the Critical Skills Retention Bonus, we know that more than 80% of them fully intended to stay in the Army. And so we paid $500 million, at least $400 million of which went toward people who were already going to stay in the Army.
So as the Army began to lose its ability to retain officers, it began to engage in behaviors that were inconsistent with its long-run objectives of developing great leaders. When that took place, it started looking to sort of quick fix, perhaps short-sighted alternatives.
The first thing the Army turned to was over-assessing officers. Well, that actually exacerbates the problem because now you have a bunch of lieutenants and captains standing around waiting for jobs, unhappy with their career, and so they essentially leave the Army.
When you don't retain the talent you built, very quickly you devolve into a numbers game. And very quickly you end up doing all these sorts of adaptations and accommodations to get the numbers you need.
10, 15 years ago, you see majors and lieutenant colonels that are getting promoted in the 65 to 75% range. You fast forward today and we're promoting 9 out of 10 captains and majors to major or lieutenant colonel. Basically, we're promoting everybody.
When you start promoting 95% of your officers, you start to promote officers who maybe are a little lackluster in their performance. It's one thing to work for a bad boss. It's another thing when that boss really holds your life in his hands. Not only do you lose potential younger officers when you make them serve under lackluster leadership, but you also really put the mission at peril when you have leaders who don't really know what they're doing and really shouldn't be assigned there. But when you don't have anyone else to do it, that's what you do.
All of our soldiers, all of our officers have choices. They have choices every day about, do I stay in the Army or do I leave? The opportunities that our soldiers forego by staying in the Army is the opportunity cost of service. If that opportunity cost is very, very high, we will begin losing our most talented folks.
Retention is really where you stop the bleeding in the officer corps. You're investing so much into the development of these young people, and if you're not getting years of service out of them, you really place the Army at tremendous risk. This trickles up the chain. And after 20 or 30 years, you could end up with a force that is led by people that are there because they were the best that the Army could get rather than the best that there actually is.